Welcome to Storybreakers, the show where we come up with a brand new film idea every single episode. And if you like it, it's yours. I'm your host, Christopher Brennan, and let me introduce you to our co-host, Mr. Stephen Ryan.
Hello.
Today we have a very special guest. He's writer, director, editor, Mr. Conor Dowling.
Hey guys. How's things? Jesus, you do an awful lot of things. What are you doing now?
I'm doing a few things at the moment, but I'm really excited about this new project I'm starting in the new year. I'm starting a sketch comedy group, so we're basically going to make comedy videos, me and a couple other guys that I went to college with, and we're going to start a YouTube channel in the new year.
What's it called?
Oh, it's called Curved Comedy.
Okay.
That's putting a lot of pressure on yourself now, considering that we're expecting you to be funny now in this podcast.
Well, I don't know, I was hoping that you guys might appear in some of our videos sometime. It might be a bit of a crossover kind of thing.
Sweet.
But, we'll talk
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool. And do you have a Twitter account at the moment?
Me personally, I'm at Gabe Lewis 23.
Gabe Lewis, how do you spell that?
GABELEWIS.
Okay, guys, if you like what happens in the next hour or so, you know who to blame. Okay, before we start though, I think we actually have correspondence. The Blokebusters podcast have a noir film that they came up with, which actually sounds really interesting.
Yeah.
It said that it would be a noir film set in the late 1800s. It'll be about a private detective who's in Sherlock Holmes' shadow.
That is awesome.
Like, imagine that. Like, the possibilities just rushed to my head immediately. I was like, oh my god, like this guy who's solving cases, but no one gives a shit about it.
Yeah, as well, we're so used to seeing copycat villains. Why not see a copycat hero for once?
Yeah. So I think like that'd be really cool. And in fact, I would like to know more about that. If you guys want to hear more about it, let us know, and we can ask at Blokebusters.
Yeah, or we can even hopefully we can do an episode of it later on in the series.
At Film Reverie also has an idea of their own, and it's set in 1940s. A private detective named Max Knight. That already sounds like ominous. It sounds like you should already have a series, you know?
That's good. Once you have a good name for your leading character, you're already sorted.
Yeah. This guy, he's trying to solve a missing persons case, a 16-year-old daughter of a wealthy businessman. I'm just thinking Humphrey Bogart immediately, so that sounds pretty cool. But yeah, anyway, so if you guys have film ideas, we'd love to hear them, and we'll read them out on the podcast. So let's get back to business. As we said last time, we are going to reboot a film today. So we shall... what should we do?
Connor's our guest. Why not let him choose? All the reboots that some that's not being rebooted now, or that's in production now, but that you want to see, anything. It could be absolutely anything. We can do a reboot, so basically it covers prequel, sequel, or
how about we do Gremlins?
Gremlins?
Yeah.
Okay.
I love Gremlins, and I don't think we're ever going to see anything anytime soon about Gremlins.
I think that's a fantastic idea. That's such a good franchise. And
I mean,
why haven't we seen a reboot already?
Basically, the guy who did the last one killed it by doing the sequel that was so outrageous that he was declaring, I don't ever want to do another Gremlins film.
Well, basically, the Gremlins sequel is the best parody that you could do of a Gremlins movie.
Yeah.
That's they just killed it stone dead.
Yeah, so I think why don't we just take it back to its roots? I mean, they set up some fantastic rules already. They set up these great-looking characters, and I don't think they really explored enough of it. I mean, we had them in a sleepy town, and then we had them in a big city, but really that was just a caricature of itself. So I don't know. I mean, the one thing I'm thinking immediately of Gremlins is on a boat. That's the first thing I can think of, is just, if we're going to play with the rules, like, well, if they can't get in the water, then why don't we make the water all around them? Because that's just dangerous.
Well, I think what we have to do, first of all, is, this is where things go wrong with reboots all the time, is that you don't know what you're rebooting. So we need to figure out, what are we going for? Are we going for a horror comedy? Or are we going straight up horror? Like, the first one was pretty much, it was very dark, the first one, where there wasn't that many jokes. The jokes all came in the kills, and there was cuteness in Gizmo, but that was it. The rest of it was scary.
And it was set at Christmas too, which we don't really consider it's such a dark Christmas film.
Whenever I think of Gremlins, the first thing I think of is Christmas.
Yeah,
I really do. I'd love for the reboot to be at Christmas, if possible.
Yeah, okay. We can bring it back
in there.
Yeah,
and like with all good sci-fi, there's rules to Gremlins, and the rules for Gremlins are plain as day. They say it multiple times. It's not like James Cameron makes up Terminator and says, okay, my rules are this, you know, they're applied. The Gremlins, we have 3 specific rules that we need to follow.
That an old man says at the very beginning of the film to another person to make it damn sure clear the audience know that these are the 3 rules.
And then a slightly less older man who repeats it to his son when he gives the Gremlin to as a present. And then the son repeats it again.
Yeah, so what we're doing is we're going to keep those rules.
We have to. That's what the essence of Gremlins is, really, isn't it? So the rules are: can't feed them after midnight, can't let them see the sunlight, and can't let them near water.
Yeah.
So hence the boat. You're dead right in the same with boat.
Yeah. And I don't know, like, we know when we first see them, he's in the old man's shop, and we don't know how he got there. Could we do like a prequel kind of thing? Can we tell a story before that?
Is the boat bringing the Gremlin to the...
Well, straight away, what's in my head is...
It could end with them landing in the shop, so maybe it's like, in the story, we don't know that that's actually going to happen. Like, we do, like, it's at the end, it's kind of like...
So this would be a prequel, essentially.
It's like let's say at the end, like, the old man picks up this cage, and we're like, oh my goodness, like, that's it. Like, that kicks off the other film, The Gremlins.
Because I'm thinking automatically, I'm like, you know, Gizmo was such a huge part of the 2 films, and how do you get him into this? So what if there was a type of thing where, let's say you have your Gremlin, and he gets wet, and he multiplies, and there are all these evil Gremlins, but then there's one
is Gizmo.
Good. Yeah.
Perfect.
And he's caged up at the end, brought to the shop.
That's excellent.
I like that.
Yeah. So we're doing basically the origin of Gizmo.
Okay.
That's cool.
That is awesome.
Well, because why would we go the other way? Why would we? Like, it's pretty difficult to follow Gremlins 2, the new batch. So we go before the first one.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
That's it. And we have so much to play with. Basically, what our story then has to be told is, how does Gizmo get to that shop in Chinatown?
Yeah,
that's where we're basically going to leave it off. So we're going to have so much fun playing with it now before that.
So now we know, like, it might end up with him washing up on shore in a little thing, like a protective case, you know, which is picked up by an old man. So that means he had to be on a boat before that happened.
Yeah.
So where did he come from? Like, where did that boat come from? Because that's pretty much where he'll come from, right?
Yeah, I think so. Well, basically so we're looking at before the 80s.
Yeah.
Gremlins is set in the 80s. All we do is just completely in the past in this show. So basically we're going before the 80s. So why not do it like a war scenario or something, like a military group are leaving their port and they're coming back home for Christmas. Okay. So basically before they come back, they're doing a little shopping trip on their day off, and one of them decides to pick up a gremlin essentially in a shop to bring it home as a present for his family.
Yeah.
So then he gets onto the boat and he doesn't know what he's after picking up, and that whole travel back is where all
now this gremlin happens. Is it the Mogwai?
This is a Mogwai.
The fuzzy one.
Yeah, this is a fuzzy Mogwai.
Okay.
And do you ever notice in the 2 Gremlins, there was one of them was called Spike and one was called Stripe, I think.
Yeah.
So the Gremlin has to have an S, I think. He has to have something along those name, something along that scenario. I think that'll be your
Skip.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Skip.
It is on a boat.
Okay, that's a good idea. I mean, that'd be a good idea if you wanted to keep the mystery of where they came from for another film.
I'm thinking as well. Where are they actually coming from?
I mean, you mentioned military. Immediately, I'm like, weaponized creatures?
No.
Or like, where are they from? Are they demons? Are they aliens? You know what I mean?
I don't know. I think one of the joys of the Gremlins movies is that we don't know.
Okay.
I don't know about you. I think that when you do reboots and prequels and you go look at Prometheus, for instance, we don't know where the alien comes from. Essentially, in Alien, it has a bit of mystery to it. We go to Prometheus and we see this octopus having an alien. And it's like, oh man, that's where it came from. That's disappointing.
Yeah. Well, I think there's definitely we don't have to go too specific with where it came from, and maybe if they are man-made, they lose their magic a bit. Okay. But let's not recreate the idea of somebody going to a shop, because that's been done, and I know that could mirror something in a nice way. But let's try.
Yeah, we don't want to start. So we don't want to start off and do the exactly the same way.
Maybe it's like it is like maybe a dock ship. There's a little kind of jungly area, and in there's like a box cracked open, and that's where like one of the sailors sees one of these creatures. So we're alluding to something else that has occurred, but it's a different way to get the Mogwai to the boat. You know, it's kind of got this idea of like Jurassic Park. You just landed on this mysterious place where looks like something else has happened, but you find this fuzzy, adorable creature. So it's like, you know what? I'm going to take this back with me.
Like Jurassic, you just said Jurassic Park there. Let's do a massive mashup. That's what was in the canister that Norm was holding when he went off. It was never explained. It was never explained. That's what he...
What type of boat are we talking about here? Because like I'm picturing kind of like the potential for mayhem would be really interesting on like a cruise ship kind of thing, you know. Just because you can have families on it, you know, you can have all different types of people. Or I think if you're going for...
That's a good point.
If you're going for military or something, what is it, just 10 guys in a boat? Because that could be interesting too, you know, but I just...
Then immediately I'm thinking Alien.
Right.
You know, like...
Oh, like it's like 10 guys in a boat or something.
Yeah. Because part of the fun of Gremlins, when it does kick off, is just the amount of people that they mess with. So maybe you want that large number. Plus, they do always mess with families.
Yeah.
You get these caricatures of businessmen and wives. And it's common for those.
subplots on their own, aren't they?
Yeah,
absolutely. Like each family has their own little
because
story.
there's all these different sections as well of the boat, you know, like you got your fucking ballroom here and there's Gremlins over here in the gym.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, I think...
Gremlins in the gym.
There's an image popped in my head.
There's usually
some 80s music playing, of course.
Of course.
When they use the machines, yeah.
There's usually a shithead that you really want to get his comeuppance, but they hold it for a while.
There has to be a bully. There has to be a bully in this sort, doesn't there?
That's where you need Gizmo because he's getting picked on,
Yeah.
you know, and you feel sorry for him. Yeah.
Okay, so that sounds good. So I think, are we okay with it going to be like a cruise ship?
Yeah.
And then it docks somewhere? Because that's what they do. Right? They go from port to port. But they dock, they have a little fun. Sometimes it's only for like an afternoon, and then they're like, okay, get back on the ship. So that could be easily where someone brings something on board with it. You know, except it's not attached to someone's face like Alien.
Could be. So basically, there is one thing that we have to steer clear of. Because this is a cruise ship, we have to stay away from Speed 2.
Okay.
So this is one thing that we have to stay away. So there's no leeches and no William Dafoe in this movie, okay?
Well, he'd make a great Gremlin.
Minimal makeup.
Yeah.
Oh, that's another thing you have to talk about. There has to be practical effects, right? There's no CG Gremlins.
Yeah,
they have to be completely puppets.
There's no reason to do this if it's CGI. It's just, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
As we said before, it's the charm that
it is
of that film that makes it so long lasting. But yeah, okay, so we have. So who picked up the Mogwai? Like they get off. What do they go to a jungle or something?
What if we're just?
Where do they go?
Why don't we just meet? Or do we want to do it? Like we're find out where this Mogwai came from, or do we just want to jump into the story?
I like the idea of just alluding to it, like you were saying.
Yeah, I think that there could be something there. Even the fact that we don't know what it is, it really gives us an opening for the next one. You know, which after this blockbuster, we guarantee
which goes back even further.
So instead of doing sequels, we always just do prequels.
Yeah.
We do a prequel to a prequel.
So I mean, it's a boxer. There's something in the background that before they get to it, they hear rustling in the bushes. They walk over, and you kind of feel familiar with the scene already. You know, like they walk over, push the bushes aside. You hear that, you know, and then they pick up this little rodent, this little creature.
Gizmo, or is that too soon to introduce him? Kind of.
No, I like your idea of keeping Gizmo later on. He's one of the sons of the.
So it's like a pregnant Mogwai. Is that what it is?
We're just waiting for it to be rained on, isn't it?
Yeah, because it's the type of thing where someone actually picks up the Gremlin and brings on the boat, or does the Gremlin sneak on with him?
I like that, actually, a little mischievous.
Actually, you know what? No, right away. The first time I ever heard of Gremlins was on a Bugs Bunny cartoon, where Bugs Bunny actually didn't win. I think it was in an airplane, and the Gremlin just dismantled it, and that's what they were known for. Like they would invade little areas and tear them apart piece by piece.
Okay.
So that's where I first heard of it. So I think you're absolutely right. They sneak into somebody's duffel bag, and because immediately you're going they're up to mischief.
Yeah.
Okay, we're saying that Mogwai, like if Gizmo's the good one, then the one that is the stowaway is up to no good. Maybe take it back to that sense of like there was even in a Twilight Zone episode on a plane, where he's dismantling it. Yeah. So maybe that we incorporate that original kind of philosophy of what the Gremlin is, where once he's there, things start occurring to the boat little by little. Like it might be small, like or some chandelier falls down at like a ballroom scene, and they're like, I'm so sorry, like we'll clean this up. The audience know, like, oh my god, but the people in it have no clue what's going on.
So I have an idea then. How about then we start off the movie where we're on a port, we see like a camera flown in onto a port, a load of people getting onto a cruise ship, and then we see this little shadow of a little skip, basically a little Mogwai, and he's trying to get into the water. He's trying to jump into the ocean to multiply. That's his main goal. But every time he makes that little step further near the water, he gets cut off by something like a car or traffic from people walking. So then he nearly gets spotted, so he decides to jump into a bag. And when he jumps into a bag, the guy just comes out of frame, picks up the bag and just gets onto the boat. So now instead of getting into the water, he's stuck on the boat and he's stuck in this bag. And technically then he's stuck in a room belonging to this guy who's probably has a family. So now he's a stowaway on. He didn't want to get onto the boat. He wanted to get into the water, but now he's on the boat, and his whole mission is now to try to get out of the boat into the sea, into the water to multiply.
Yeah. Okay, I like that. I can even see instead of like a bag, it's like a briefcase, like a heavy, deep briefcase, and he hops in it, and then it's just shut and clicks closed.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
And
or
then
he gets in, he's kind of poking his head out, and then they just throw a shitload of bags in on top of him, just crushed underneath. You know.
Oh, you see his little feet sticking out.
One little ear just flapping after getting caught in the.
It's like Wizard of Oz with like these little feet slide underneath the bags. Okay, cool. So we basically got, we'll call him Skip.
Yeah, Skip, yeah.
Him, her, whatever. Is Gizmo a guy or a girl?
There's only guys and transvestite gremlins.
Oh, so are they asexual then? Is that?
Yeah. Are they? I don't know.
Maybe.
I think so. We've only ever seen one gremlin dressed up as a woman.
Like, you know, they reproduce by water thrown on them and they like lay eggs basically, don't they? Like,
yeah, they just pop, yeah. The little fur balls. His little fur balls pop out.
Yeah.
So for the sake of it, we'll just say he or whatever. Like, that's just
he or it, whatever. Yeah, it's all
so he gets on the boat. So now we have him on the boat. And I'm thinking if he's in one of those containers, like if he's contained in a briefcase or whatever, there should be the scene where the guy opens it up, he jumps out and scurries away.
Yeah.
And it will be that class thing was like, oh my God, what was that? No one else saw it. He's like, that's weird. But don't do the cliche thing with the film where they don't tell anybody. He would tell somebody.
Yeah, no one believes him.
But then they're like, what do you mean, Gremlins? You know, and like, just right away, like, just wink at it because people know, they know the idea of what it is. It's like no one using the word zombies during a zombie attack. But you're like, it was this little thing. And they're like, what, like a chihuahua? It'll be all right. You know, like, no one wants to listen to him. And then, like, just get him swept away. Get that character swept away. That's probably our main character right there.
I think so.
That'll be our main character. What kind of age are we talking here?
I don't know. We're obviously going to cast Chris Pratt because he does everything, doesn't he?
That's not bad.
He'd be a good guy to fall off. Or Jason Bateman, maybe Charlie Day. You need Jason Sudeikis. You need someone like that, I think.
Or would you go for someone kind of younger, maybe? Like
a kid?
No, not a kid, but like a guy.
Zac Efron level, but not Zac Efron?
Yeah, not Zac Efron. Yeah, someone maybe.
With that age bracket.
Like Justin Long or like.
He'd be good.
Mm.
You know, that kind of guy.
I think they have to be funny.
Yeah.
Because you're going to need your humour to come off this person. They have to be instantly likeable as well. And I think Justin Long is one of those guys. They do fit into that category of that. I will watch this movie just for them.
Yeah.
You know,
he's got a Billy to him, like in the first one and the second one. Like,
yeah, a little
Billy
bit geeky.
Yeah, a little bit geeky, exactly.
Yeah.
The kind of guy who no one's going to believe.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got a collection of people in our head there. We'll say Justin Long, it can change, you know. But now we know kind of the character. And I'm thinking, we've just introduced this guy. And one cool thing is, if this guy is kind of responsible for bringing the gremlin on, it gives him more reason to solve the problem, you know?
Right, okay.
Because if he didn't do it, then say the bully that we introduced later on would be like, well, you fucking brought this guy on. Like, you brought this thing on, you know? There's so many people on the boat who would just be waiting for somebody else to solve it. But this guy's like, it jumped out of my case. No one wanted to believe me. And he spends his time like trying to convince people when bad things start happening that there's something is up. Like something is on this boat, you know? So we have our character there. And so basically, are we saying that once that gremlin's out, he starts messing with stuff little by little? Does that make sense? Like maybe he doesn't know how to get off this boat, so he starts messing with stuff. Like by nature, they are mischief makers.
I think they have a attention disorder type thing that he has a goal that he wants to get to the water, but every time when he leaves the room, maybe some catches eye and he's inquisitive, so he goes to see that and something happens there. Then he goes again to go to the water, something else catches eye, he goes to see it, you know, and it's all this whole thing is something, because that's what I see in Gremlins, that something's always catching their eye. Like, why did he go into a bar?
Yeah.
You know, why did they go into a bar? They go into a bar and then it's like they're playing with jukebox machine, and then everything that they do always seems to be because
that scene is so long. If you watch it again, it's like triple the length it should be, but they just went, let's put every joke we made in this one scene.
It's like, we can't edit this. This is all gold. Let's just use it all.
Yeah, gold, baby. So I even thought when you're saying that, you can play with the stupidity of the Mogwai as well. Like, say he sneaks into a room, a woman's changing in the bathroom, you know, and he sees on a TV, like, water or, like, some 80s or 70s show, and there's a beach there, like, it's a water documentary. He just runs at the TV, bangs into it thinking it's water.
Yeah.
It crashes down. He scampers away. This woman comes out going, oh my God, what happened? So you already have mischief, but you also introduce the water element. Like, he thought it was water because he's a moron.
They are morons.
Yeah, they really are. Maybe that girl is possibly the female love interest, you know, maybe just the mom runs in after. Did you see something come in here? She's like, she thinks he's after breaking the TV.
That's so good. So you introduce them to each other.
Yeah, they're off on the wrong foot kind of thing.
Yeah, like she's like in that kind of wearing like
pervert.
Yeah, breaks her TV out of lust. What are you doing here? And he was like, did you see a small fuzzy creature?
What are you talking about?
Dad. Okay, cool. So he runs out and he's looking for it again. So cool, like we're actually getting quite far in. All right, so
and now one thing as well, that one pitfall to this is we're going to get a Gremlin a lot quicker than we do in the movies as well, because nobody in this movie knows the rules. So nobody's told Justin Long that you can't feed him after midnight.
Yeah.
No one's told him that he has to keep him away from water, and the only way he's going to find out about the sunlight is when sun hits him, you know, or light hits him or whatever. So
how do the audience know about the rules? How do we set that up?
Well, I think we can start that off in like a little passage at the start, maybe, if we have to do that, or we can just take for granted that Gremlins, everyone knows Gremlins.
Well, like a rolling montage of hieroglyphics with the rules.
What about a Gremlin turning from like a Neanderthal Gremlin up into a straight walking?
It's just chiseled into the wall. Rule 1: Thou shalt not get wet.
There's something to do with sunlight as well. The sunlight.
Yeah, they can't go into the sunlight. Sunlight and bright light hurt them.
Yeah.
Sunlight kills them and bright light hurts them.
Yeah, because someone takes a photo, gives them on the and freaks out. Yeah.
And then the second one, they kill them by bringing them into the foyer, the lobby, isn't it? And their whole plan is...
they ooze, don't they?
Yeah, they melt.
Oh, right.
They melt into that green...
Pretty nasty.
Right, okay.
No one that turns into a statue because he gets injected with liquid concrete.
That's it, okay.
And then when he goes into the sunlight, then he cracks and the liquid concrete dries up or something.
Yeah.
He's a bat, isn't it? It's a bat Gremlin.
Yes, yeah.
That goes, he flies into the concrete is what it is, into wet concrete.
Yeah.
And when he's flying off, it just sets while he's up in the air and he lands as a perfect gargoyle on the top of the
That's right. Yeah. So we have our...
So we need to get him wet really quick.
Yeah. But I think you're gonna dangle that in front of the audience as well. You know, you keep thinking he's about to get wet. It's gonna happen. It doesn't happen.
One thing I thought as well, whenever you're in a hotel room, do you ever notice like the extraction fans are really bad because you can't open windows and you won't be able to open a window on a boat. So you ever notice like when you have a shower, like the steam fills your room.
Yeah.
Steam is technically water, so steam would have to turn a Gremlin into a Mogwai into a Gremlin, wouldn't it? I don't know. Would you imagine that nice little scene where the steam is coming towards the Mogwai and it's like he just gets picked up and brought off then?
Perhaps, yeah. Well, I wouldn't. What do you think? I don't think the steam should turn him into...
I don't know if I think it's a cool idea, but I don't know if the scene him getting transformed by the steam is going to be as satisfying.
No, I don't think getting turned into steam. I just think that can you imagine like looking at that and it's, oh my God, he's going to get turned and gets picked up. You know, it's like that trickling water. We've seen it.
Someone takes him away.
Someone takes him away. Like say that's when he breaks the TV and Justin Long's like, I have to go out of this room. He takes the Mogwai off or something. You know, something along those lines. Well, you've seen the trickling water. You know that water on the floor running towards them. And something happens and you get taken away. That was in the first go. We have to do something along those lines.
Like someone goes by with like a cart with like food on it and like rams into him and he goes, you know.
One scene I'm seeing is like he gets out and he starts running around. He hits like some banquet hall, but the party's over and like a drunk who's still thirsty. He's hitting all the tables trying to like pour stuff on, but it's all empty, you know. And he's like, and he's just this is so good for audio, but like he's dumping empty glasses on his head, trying to get like
a challenge over himself.
And it's not working. One idea that might help with your steam would be ice. Like if there was like an ice, like if he jumped into an ice bucket, like if that's how he transformed. Like he's climbing up. Someone bumps it, the lid shuts, and then like this whole ice bucket starts rumbling and changing colors. Because isn't that what that happens? Doesn't
like,
it like
an ice machine kind
No,
of?
the
like
colours-
the ice machine, yeah.
The colours happen when they eat after midnight. That's when they go into a cocoon, and then they stay in a cocoon for a while, and then they start to they hatch from it, and that's when all the lights start to happen.
Okay.
I'm not sure actually.
It is.
No, actually, the lights happened when he fell into the swimming pool.
Yeah, and
That was
the water's like bubbling and stuff.
Yeah.
When he's in the room, when they first get turned into the lights happen when he was in the swimming pool when he's already a gremlin.
Yeah.
When he was a mogwai in the bedroom with the lead actor, I can't remember what his name is, isn't it? It was just little balls of fur just popping off him.
Yeah,
Little
yeah.
ping pong balls.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of-
Like, I think the thing with setting it on a boat is the big payoff is when he falls into the sea, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's something that you just want to save until much later. That it's basically going to be like an homage to the thing where he falls into the pool in a big set on a much bigger scale. Because, you know, to read.
I think that's
Well, I don't think that he does.
Yeah, I think
that's the
he never
goal.
falls into the water.
no,
the goal
that's
is he
the
doesn't.
MacGuffin, isn't it?
Yeah, if he jumps, it's like the idea is like he gets to that water, world is over.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
That whole ocean fills up with gremlins.
Yeah, okay.
it's just the ocean is now fuzzball who are hungry. But I do think I think we do need him to multiply. We want the Gremlins to show up.
Oh yeah,
Like,
we
need them.
Yeah, we need
But
multiple.
I'm just trying to think. Take your Steam idea and put another twist on it, and it'll be the ice machine. Because you even have this cool shot where you see these balls just shooting out of the ice machine, or even like when you see the machine rumbling and moving back and forth in multicolors. Have somebody just standing there drinking something with ice in it, and he's seeing what's going on, and he like questions how good the ice is. He's like, "Oh my god, what's in this glass?"
that classic drunk scene where he looks at the whiskey. It's like no way.
Puts it aside and just walks away.
No, he drinks it. He doesn't put it to the side. He drinks it. It's like, this is awesome.
Then when someone comes with a bucket to fill up the ice bucket, opens it up, and it's just mogwai tumbling out of it, you know? And they just spread out. And I don't know. I think they're definitely going to hit that kitchen. But do they hit the kitchen immediately? Or
I think because we're already in the banquet. Are we still in the banquet room?
Yeah, well, around it. You know?
So there's like loads of scraps of food in a banquet hall. Could you imagine like a massive mogwai food fight in a banquet hall?
Oh, I like
to
that.
start it off. That's like they're eating the scraps of the chicken wings and they're just going through food. And
It's like Hook, but without the imaginary food.
Rufio.
Yeah. Oh, food fight would be excellent. That's a really fun thing because that would be a light homage to the bar scene.
Yeah,
But
that's what I mean.
but it wouldn't be the Gremlins. It'd be the Mogwai, because we haven't seen a lot of Mogwai. So that'd be a nice addition that we have here. Is the Mogwai are there? Like they're kind of running around because at the moment we only had a couple of them, right? Well, for the first two films, there was only like a handful of Mogwai.
Yeah, I think it's like 12 of them or so, isn't there? It always seems to be like that kind of deal where it's like 12 or so. There's not too many.
Yeah, because animatronics are expensive.
Yeah, so they put them next to a mirror.
What would J.J. Abrams do?
Yeah. So that's cool. So we have them now. I think it would be fun to see a lot of Mogwai. We know that that's how they reproduce, but they've only reproduced to a certain level. So, and there's one thing we can do if we think there's too many of them. We can do something where we can wipe out a lot of them with sunlight or whatever, quickly. So it gets contained. But I like that notion of a giant food fight, but it's not the Gremlins yet, because as we're saying, the good Mogwai would come out of that batch.
There's going to be like 100 Mogwai or so.
Yeah.
At least one of them has to be good.
Yeah.
The chances like that. Yeah, so we have Gizmo then.
The black sheep of his family, you know? Like they're all having a food fight. It would be awesome to kind of like let the audience who know the film, like out of this kind of like this little running thing where they're all running around, like, and you'd see Gizmo in the bunch, and you make him like
sitting down in the middle of it all, just
You want to be tucking like a little sandwich off a table and then sat underneath the chair and looking at all the food fly over when he's sitting under the chair just eating a sandwich or his little chicken nuggets.
And they're just messing with stuff, you know.
You just see he's really quiet and placid. He doesn't get involved with it all.
And so it is when after midnight they turn into Gremlins.
Yeah.
Or they have Gremlins.
No, they turn into Gremlins. They turn into the lizards. They basically, when after they eat at midnight,
They cocoon.
They cocoon.
Right.
when can they start eating again? You know what I mean? Like if it's after midnight, because it's always after midnight.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? It's like, I don't know. This, like,
Is it a thing where it's like first thing in the morning or?
well, see, that's already a head fuck. Now we're going off to international waters, so times are changing all the time. So I don't know what we're going to do.
I forgot about the time difference. No, it's okay. You can't let them eat until after midnight. It's like forgot about the hour difference.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually. I think the time zone thing could play into it. I mean, maybe that's a bit too complicated for this one. But what I do like is we have a food fight, and maybe we have the food fight at 11:30 or so. and basically, like, they've been playing around. We get that whole scene out of it, and then once midnight strikes, it's like bong, bong, or whatever, and then. And like they can change at that point. Like,
what if we had like the way on the captain ship and all that, they always have multiple clocks on the wall.
Yeah,
and it's always like, they have the Greenwich Mean Time. They have like, say, New York and Singapore and all that. So we had like 5 clocks, okay. And what we're on now, there's a red light over. There's a little light over each clock. And over the one we're on now, say we're coming back from New York, right, for instance. So we're on New York and we're on New York time, and the camera keeps panning back to this clock, and we're at like 10 to 12 now at this point, and the Gremlins are stuffing their faces, they're getting really into it. Now, we already know the rules from being fans of it, or people that get the rules. As the clock is ticking to 12, the red light switches over to say where are we going, maybe to Ireland now.
Oh, yeah.
Say we're going to England, okay, so we're going from New York to England, we're getting over Ireland now, so we're going at the Greenwich Mean Time now. So the red light switched over. So we're at the crossing the international line now. So the time zone is different. So now we're at the getting that midnight, and we're at the rolling it right back now again.
So we lost an hour.
So we're at the losing 4 hours. So now it's 8 p.m. So we're at there missing now that midnight thing. So he has now 4 hours to get rid of all these gremlins.
Okay.
You get me? Like, so there's basically a time shift in it now. So
can you go past from one time zone to another into the 4 hour difference? I thought it was just an hour gradually. How does that work?
I don't know.
Well, that would be one of those things where when you're writing the first draft of the script, you just go sciencey.
This is exactly okay. So we're rolling this into sciencey bit.
Okay. So
because it essentially buys you a bit of time.
Yeah, exactly. So we're basically we're at having the water that, like, there's a bit of tension. Is he going to get wet? No, he doesn't. And then he gets wet later on. It's like, okay, so we're having that. Now we're going to the midnight. Oh my god, it's nearly midnight. No, it's not. We say we have another round.
I like that though. That is nice.
So we're building a bit of tension.
That's in there no matter what. Like.
Yeah. So we'll go an hour because an hour is sweet. It's a nice time.
It's like the time bomb that resets itself like to 10 seconds every time. It's like 3, 2, 10 seconds.
Are we getting into a bit of a speed to cruise control situation here now?
Are we?
Because we're running against the clock. Like,
most films running against the clock.
We have to stay in this time zone.
Yeah, we're running against the clock, a 90-minute window here. But as well, it's a nice way to get Gizmo out of the banquet hall so he doesn't eat after midnight, because we need to keep Gizmo as Gizmo.
As a virgin.
Yeah, he needs to stay in Mogwai. Yeah. So we need to get him separated then from the clan.
I'm thinking we should have a character in it that kind of knows some of the rules. Like maybe someone who's heard of this, has encountered something like it. We've already set up something exists, but maybe he was like, I heard about this thing, because we want them to know that they can't do this, right? Like you want someone in that boat to be like, it can't go to midnight. I told you, like, and we can't have like, it's one way to do it is to put like a note on the first Mogwai that the guy picks up and rolls a little scroll out. I don't like that idea.
He has a locket or something, a chain of some sort then around his neck.
But we have a whole boat of people. You can have somebody who's heard of this before, and we've introduced that it happened somewhere on another island. So there's enough people on a boat. I think you can get the crazy old man guy who's like, I know this before.
This is a bit
Babadooky. Like a young version of that Chinese guy. He's a Chinese guy, right? Like, what if he was on the boat? So he didn't just pick it up.
What if it was somebody who was like wherever they pick the thing up, whatever country it is that has this jungle or whatever. Yeah. What if it was someone who was going over there, some sort of zoologist or exotic animal study person who's gone over in search of this creature or something? I don't know.
I love that. That's a great idea.
And maybe they think they're coming home empty-handed. It's your classic expert on the whole situation.
Yeah, the Richard Dreyfuss of Jaws.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we need that.
They're on the boat. They're coming back and they're thinking, this is.
Can we get Sam Neill to play this part? Do you think?
No, but you're right.
Only Sam Neill takes on the Gremlins.
It's too much to expect the audience who are fans of the film to get the rules. Like you have to have somebody in that. Like the other films don't exist really in this story.
Yeah.
But when you watch it, you get.
You know what would be good, right? You have all this stuff happening on the boat. You have your gremlins getting wet. You have your gremlins, about to eat food or whatever after midnight, and it's all happening, and you don't necessarily know why. Well, you haven't been told why. The only reason you know why is because you've seen the other movies,
Mm.
But then your expert comes along and says, "Holy shit! What are you doing? What are you doing getting these guys wet? Look what happens!" And you don't want to see what happens when they eat after midnight. And
and we have our Justin Long. Let's give him a name. Who's our Justin Long? Like Matt or something.
Okay,
Matt, because let's just give names to people. Who's the expert then?
We call him Gizmo, and that's how Gizmo gets his name. He calls him after himself.
No, who called him Gizmo?
Was he
No.
not already called Gizmo? Or was he already called Gizmo?
No, he was christened Gizmo by the guy.
Because
so he doesn't
mention.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So it's like Matt is Justin Long, and whoever his expert is Gary, whatever. Doesn't really matter for now. Like, so it's really cool to have Matt then trying to solve this thing, and then meets Gary, who can basically give him and the audience information they require, like exposition, basically.
Yeah.
But in a fun kind of way, because then you have that scene where they're having that food fight, and Matt is he's standing there like watching this mayhem, going like, I don't know what's going on, like. But when the other guy shows up going like, no, like, it's about to hit midnight, bong. And then they start cocooning, and he was like, good Lord, So there's something cool there about like having, at least now we have somebody who knows the stuff.
Yeah, I think that's going to be really helpful. As well, I'm also thinking, you've got so many Mogwais in the one room very early on. I think you need to split them up.
Once the food is gone now, they're going to.
Are they just going to go themselves, or are we going to get people to try to wrangle them into different areas or something?
Well, I think one nice thing to do. Maybe,
actually, sorry. One way to do that is if they have eaten and it is midnight and they do cocoon, they're rustled up and packed away. They were like, we don't know what this is. Like, it's disgusting.
Yeah, put it in containment.
They get like
cargo hold or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And now the mission is that the Gremlins who are now in the cargo hold have a big journey to get out of the cargo hold, out of the boat and into the water. So you get like these kitchen porters and stuff like shoveling these nasty giant egg things, like these slimy things, but like, this is not even my goddamn job,
Well, one thing we have to do before
when they break out, they can all disperse individually.
Yeah, that's what they need to go into all the different
But before that happens, though, we need to get Gizmo out of the group.
Yeah.
Because he has to be separated. So I think Justin Long thinks that that's his gremlin that he's out there, that basically that he's been running around looking for now. I assume he's going to be running around looking for this gremlin. Maybe something happens, Gizmo leaves the banquet hall, maybe.
Yeah.
He's a bit flustered about what's going on with the food fight and all that. He leaves the banquet hall. Justin Long sees him in the corridor. He's like, right, that's grand. Takes him and brings him back to his room.
So I think Matt doesn't know what's happening in the banquet hall.
Yeah,
that's
good.
Because he thinks this is the only one. So I got him, and now he's behaving himself. He has no idea that mayhem is happening over here.
What if Justin Long is walking down the hallway? He has basically Gizmo now in his wrapped up in a towel or something, and a little ear is popping out, and Matt is walking the opposite direction towards. Gary is walking towards Matt, and he sees the little ear popping out, and then as soon as Matt walks by, Gary stops. He's like, hold on a second, is that? And we don't know Gary at this point. We just see this guy stopping and looking, what the hell was that? And what was he holding? Then he follows him back to his room, and then in the room we can have that talk when they're looking at Gizmo. It's like, so the rules are we can't let them have water, we can't let them near water, can't feed them. That's when we get the rules.
I feel like, not age-wise, but Gary seems to have this Indiana Jones' father, Henry Jones thing, where he has that book with all the information about the Grail in it. Like, he has this little book where he's drawn little versions of what Mogwai look like, and he tells him the rules. He's like, you're just a crazy man, But meanwhile, they don't know this happened over there. That's so cool. So then we're getting the audience to know all about the rules, and we're getting these two guys met up. Meanwhile, these creatures are feasting, turned into cocoons, and the staff are not telling anybody about this. Yeah, because they're like, no, it's just a leaky pipe or whatever,
Let's bring the Gremlins into a storeroom or into the kitchen looking for more food, and that's when it happens over midnight. So then we have all these eggs hatching, all these cocoons basically hibernating in the shiny kitchen surface areas behind the scenes. So people on the cruise ship don't notice, and it's basically...
is that where the food fight would happen?
Well, the food fight would happen in the banquet hall, and off the banquet hall would be the kitchen and the storerooms for the food and stuff like that. So maybe the Gremlins...
I think wherever the banquet hall happens is where it hits midnight, they're eating there, and that's where it happens.
Because you not imagine that lovely scene where one of the crew goes into the banquet hall and it is just destroyed with scraps of food, and they're like, what the hell just happened here?
Okay, yeah.
So then when they go in, then they have a look around and they see all these cocoons, and they're like, what's going on? They run to the captain. The captain's like, I don't know what this is. We can't let anyone see it. Let's get them into the cargo hall quickly.
And then you have the snooty people going like, what is that smell? Oh, like a toilet pipe broke or whatever, and like
it's under control.
Yeah.
This is not how I remember the ocean smell.
They shovel it and they just dump it into the cargo hold or whatever. Although we have to we'll ignore the fact that they don't just throw it overboard for now.
Yeah.
We'll figure out a reason why they can't.
Thank God, that's intuition. That is.
Yeah.
that's that little voice in the back of the head. I don't think we should throw this. We shouldn't litter into the water.
If you want to get done for ocean dumping as well.
Yeah. Again, there's definitely a draft you do where you figure out why they don't dump that stuff away.
Maybe Will and Gary run back to the banquet hall. Isn't it Will?
It's Matt.
Matt, sorry, I don't know. Justin Long and the Indiana Jones guy. Once they figure out,
amazing.
Once they figure out when they talk about the rules and figure out what Gizmo is, it's like, where did you find Gizmo? So it's like, I found him outside the banquet hall. So they run back to the banquet hall, and it's like they see the mess, and it's like, okay, I know something bad is happening here. Then they investigate. They ask the captain, and then the captain basically tells them, we're going to throw them over water. No, you can't do that. You have to lock them up and get them into containment. Maybe something along those lines.
Something. I wouldn't really be too focused on that anyway. Really, that stuff's okay.
Yeah.
That one statement will handle that stuff if required, But it's cool. So now we have Gremlins. Now we have cocoons in storage. They're going to be hatched, and now we have our Gremlins on a boat looking to get out. And that's when absolute anarchy occurs. That's when people start all the pictures of them chasing women and pulling on the skirts. That's just kind of what they do. In both films, it's they just mess with people. They're biting somebody's feet, that kind of thing.
They're immature and just naughty.
So what's happening? I think it's got to be they clean the place up. There's a fancy ball happening tonight. It's got to be something big and proper that everyone's doing. It can't just be a regular day on the thing. It's like a prom on a boat, basically. Everyone's trying to look their best.
The
bigger it is, the funner it is to just tear apart and mess with people.
It's the homecoming gala. We're going back home after a cruise. This is the big gala for the last day of our holidays.
It's true, and maybe it is that thing. And there's one idea maybe that we could do, which is say in these there's a lot of shows that happen. There's dancers, there's choreography, there's singers, there's a magician. It would be amazing if he was to open a box and there's a gremlin in there and just scares the hell out of everybody.
What if he takes his hat off or he opens the box, you just see these feathers go poof, just popping out, and it's like, what the hell? And then he pulls out a gremlin and it's like,
no, gremlin leaps on his face. And what are the kids?
I love it. The kids are like, yeah. The kids are like, yeah, I love it.
Yeah, and that's when more of them show up,
They start popping up in different places around.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's where you get your gremlins in the gym.
As well, I think that...
on the treadmill, an old lady's running on a treadmill and she's checking her heart rate. She turns around and there's a little gremlin guy, and he's doing the same.
So really, we have to set up beforehand, and when they're in the banquet hall, when they're looking for food, one of them finds protein powder, and just starts guzzling the protein powder, and he's the one that goes.
I love the gym. You have this guy lifting weights, and
the gremlin's spotting.
The gremlin is the opposite of a spotter. He just sort of pushing the weights down on him.
There's just endless possibilities of what could be done in the gym.
Absolutely, but that's exactly where we go with this. Yeah. We just hit that level of why it was so good. The Gremlins, the film, that first one, it was just put them in any scenario. They have the old lady who's on this motorized thing up the stairs, so they shoot that
in a one-story house, and she goes up 5 stories worth of stairs through that room.
So yeah, it's exactly those kind of elements that we have now, and we have these other guys trying to contain them, trying to conceal them, all that stuff. And at the time, now they're on time frame going keep them here until daytime. It's evening. It's we have to keep them here because if they get outside, they can't jump into the water during the daytime because they get killed.
They'll die. Yeah.
So it's hold on, we have now a ticking clock. But that's what the Gremlins are. The Gremlins are definitely a ticking clock because you have to wait till daytime. So yeah, that's really cool. So now we have these guys trying to contain this anarchy up until for a 4-hour period or something, and it's going to be really tough to make sure that no matter what they cannot leave this area. They'd be blocking off doors, they'd be blocking off exits, things would be shattering behind them. You get the chandelier idea, that the only thing I can ever think of. But things.
It's one good idea to use earlier on.
There's even actually, to go back to that scene where they appear, you can have somebody else like a kid going, "Hey, mommy, I can play a piano." It's like dun 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 dun. So they open it up and a gremlin pops out. Like, he was just sitting there holding the one key down.
One gremlin has to play the Gremlins theme tune as well. If he's on the piano,
awesome.
he has to do.
Yeah, don't do that cheesy reboot thing where like the original theme song is like someone's mobile phone.
Yeah, no. Well, this is back in the 80s. There's no mobile phone.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah, that's a great thing about setting them in the past as well.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about any of that stuff.
No technology. You don't have to worry about anything.
That's where a lot of times when I'm writing something, I just try to put it at a date where mobile phones are the killer of drama. Yeah. No matter what happens,
that's just boring.
You're going to solve it by going, I'll just call him, I'll just text him, I'll just unlock something with this phone, I'll just do whatever. I can zap things. Like, it's ridiculous how many things you can do with a phone. So it's really cool that we don't have to do that here.
Yeah, that is really good.
So we have now our heroes, Gary and Matt, and say the woman, let's say Grace, whatever. So we introduce her as well. So these three are basically going to try to like solve the situation, you know?
What's her motivation for?
She wants a TV back.
Yeah, well, we haven't discussed her at all. Like, we've introduced her having conflict with Matt because he broke the TV. So, I mean, they can just kind of meet up again. Now he's like, I told you, like, whatever. Anyway, so now they're going to solve this. Let's look at the bigger story here anyway. So they have to start. Like, what would you do? You would actually start boarding up the walls. Or you try to board up the exits because now we have a guy telling them, don't let them out. Like try to keep them here until daytime, you know?
Wouldn't you try to start warning people as well, maybe?
It would be, but I'd say it's panic. There'd be like people running in the hallway. Yeah, like say this is after that. This is after the magician attack. You know.
Okay. Yeah.
Like so. Yeah. Like
I say they're breaking out of cargo hold.
It's a lot of extras running and screaming.
Yeah. Well, they break out of the cargo hold. They already see it's daytime, and they're like, okay, let's just have some fun. Let's just go wild until nighttime. Let's go wild till the sun goes down. Come on, Gremlins, let's have some fun. You know, that's their whole thing. So.
No, but it can still be nighttime anyway. You just have to hold them like until if it's nighttime, they're still messing around.
Yeah, I just mean if it's daytime, they're not trying to get outside the boat. If it's nighttime, they're going to try to get outside the boat. So they're not really going to be. Well, Skip is anyway. He's not going to be messing.
I don't have to worry about that. As the other two films, they never have the one straight goal of getting to
Skip always does. Skip is the one who tries to get to the. He's the one who goes to the pool to multiply. He's the one who's always trying to do something. He's the one. He's the leader. He's
now a gremlin, right?
He's a gremlin now, like the rest of them. So his goal is still the same as the start of the movie. Yeah. He wants to get into that water. So we have to figure out a way to keep him out of that. You know, that's Justin Long's character. I'm not even going to go into character names. That's their names. That's Matt and Gary's. That's their role.
You write that down.
I wrote that down. And Grace as well.
Okay.
That's their goal. They're not going to get involved in the mayhem. The mayhem is going to be the Gremlins having fun. Their goal is to stop Skip from getting out into the water.
My question is, what's happening with Gizmo during all of this? You know?
I think Gizmo, like the rest of the movies, Gizmo's always really like kind of back in the house, and he's been hidden.
Like kidnapped or something more.
He got kidnapped and made a prisoner in the second one.
How was that at the start of it?
That was like basically the start of the second act.
Okay.
The dopey gremlin with the funny eyes.
Yeah.
Locked him up in the drawer.
He does become kind of aggressive and action packed near the end of both films, right? Like
just the second one. I don't think he done it in the first one.
There's the Rambo thing. That's the second.
That was the second one. The first one, he drove a car. He got into a model car in the toy shop, wasn't it?
So we can keep him doing that. Like I don't mind that.
I think he still needs to do something.
This is like Optimus Prime, and then you introduce the humans. You know, like what are the humans here for? In this circumstance, you have all the gremlins running around. So let the humans do their bit. Like I like the idea that they're carrying him around and he's helping them gradually, like by little bits. No, he assists them in small ways to show that he's okay. But I don't want him to really take over because what's he actually going to do? The whole thing is that Gremlins can defeat Mogwai. Like they're just powerful. Yeah. He's just a bit smart.
What if Gizmo actually sets up what looks to be, as we see it, looks to be like a mundane kind of trap for a gremlin, like laying out like Hansel and Gretel type food on the ground, you know? And they're like, that's not going to work. You know, there's tons of them. That's not going to work. And Gizmo's whole thinking is, I'm going to get Skip to fall into this trap. And what it looks like to be really mundane, just kind of like, that's not going to work. At the end, is like, oh, actually, now I see what he was doing, and he actually does help towards the end. His whole thing is like, I'm going to focus on one gremlin. If I focus on one gremlin, the rest of them will go as well. It'll be fine. But he's the leader. I have to get rid of the leader.
Yeah, that is good.
You're right. We do have to give Gizmo something to do.
I think so. Just something like it doesn't have to really be the.
But he has the eye candy though in the last two in the two Gremlins movies as well. He just sits there and flickers his eyes and sings the song, doesn't he? That's all he does.
A great toy. I can't wait to buy that toy this Christmas.
He's merchandising for it.
He really is.
Yeah. So that's cool. So we have
right. So we're at the point now where we have to make up fun scenarios for the Gremlins. This is the best part of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're going crazy. We already have the gym. We have the magician. What else can you do on a boat? What else is you do on a boat?
Don't forget it is the 80s as well. So that's going to be pretty funny. Like, I'm thinking as well as the gym, there could be some sort of aerobics thing going on. You know, one of those like 80s aerobics.
The power aerobics.
Yeah.
But even we're missing the idea of like what's like underneath in the boat, like the crew, like you know, deep down. I'm not saying that they have to be shoveling coal into a fire, but like what are they doing down there? Like there's got to be somebody moving something.
They're going through all the luggage and stuff and throwing all the clothes around and playing with all that shit.
Yeah.
They're having a fancy dress party.
And one dresses up like a woman, just like the transformed one before. Like, like oh.
Pearl's necklace and all that.
And stuff, and it looks exactly like the one from the second one. That, like, didn't they drink a potion and turn into like a woman or?
No, he just got the lipstick and just put the lipstick on and he just turned up out of nowhere.
He like turned around and looked real sexy or something like that.
Something along those lines.
Kind of sexy thing.
All I remember is him in the bathroom, and the main bad guy, basically the bad human in the second one, was in the bathroom. He's calling, I need help, and this Gremlin just pops up behind him. He's like, oh my god.
That's awesome. So yeah, definitely a whole thing where they're digging through other people's luggage. They even find a gun, you know, like that kind of thing. I don't know if that ever happens, but it's the 80s, so people have guns.
Yeah, like
no one checks bags and.
No, they're the hard to. You know, you're in a boat. You have to have a thing where there's like a Gremlin wearing like his captain's hat or sailor's hat. Like maybe Skip could do that. You know, he's the skipper. Like, if only there was one of those, you know, wooden steering wheel. You know, those
there has to be, doesn't there?
Does like even like a decorative kind of thing.
There has to be a Gremlin just biting onto onto one of the handles and just going flying around the circle.
Or like pretend to be a pirate or something like that. You know?
I can see it like it cuts to them, and it looks like, for all intents and purposes, they're in like the main place where they're steering, but like it just tracks back, and they've just built this little area for themselves, and they're like pretending. they've got like a book open behind them with like the sea, you know, like they're just children messing around.
We have to have a couple of Gremlins as well, dressed as staff doing room service or something. Imagine like them knocking the door, room service, you know, let's your room service.
I like when they kill each other, like out of just kind of spite, you know,
just out of the stupidity and just
like they're digging around stuff and they pull out like like they pull out a weapon from the bags, you know, and like, and they just started killing each other, you know. That kind of just mindless violence.
That would be hilarious.
I like your room service one though. That's great, because you can have that do not disturb sign hanging there, and you can have a couple like banging basically, and they hear knock knock, go away, knock knock, and you set it up like a classic joke, you know, like go away, and opens the door, looks at the thing, there's no one there, you know. There's no one there. Knock, knock. And then finally they open up, and there's a little guy dressed like a room service attendant, you know, pushing a little cart inside the
clutch is the Gremlin.
Yeah, totally.
Is it too much for like there to be some sort of sex joke or something, like you're saying with a couple banging? If there's a thing where it's like in the dark, you know, there's a guy thinking he's with his wife or something, and turns on, he's like, oh god, and it turns out there's a Gremlin like he's just smoking a cigarette.
Well, that's the female
with the wig on.
That's the female Gremlin. That's where she pops in.
And you know, his wife walks out of the bathroom. She's like, I'm ready.
Absolutely.
But you'd know. He'd know.
I knew all about it.
Yeah, that's his shame. His shame is like, yeah, I knew. I'm sorry.
For that circumstance, then you could even have like, you know, he's waiting on the room service, and then a knock on the door, and it's just that tray, or it's just a cart. So he just wheels the cart, and he was like, yeah. And then lights go off, and he's like, oh, it's going to get intimate. And then when he turns it on, it's the Gremlin. Damn it. Try to bang me. Cool. So yeah, we have enough. Like, we have fun with those scenarios, but maybe we should start steering it towards the third act then, which is definitely going to be they're trying to get off the boat, And we already know, one, they're all going to be destroyed, just so we kind of know where we're going with it, they're all going to be destroyed, most likely by the sun.
Well, it has to be, because there's no other way we can kill them.
Yeah.
You either kill them one by one, which
I
won't
think
happen.
the boat needs to start sinking to have that extra drama, where it was like,
mess up the boat,
and no matter what happens, it's like day or night, this boat is going under. And I do think that in the end, Gizmo is saved. He's put into like a box or something.
That's a Ziploc bag.
Yeah, like basically, like it can float, and it floats all the way to a shore where the Chinese guy, is he Chinese? Was he?
I think he was Chinese. I don't know. We have to be
apologies
racist
if I'm wrong, but he picks it up, and that's the end. So now we know okay, first off, is that okay? That sounds pretty reasonable to me.
Yeah, and I love the idea of the boat sinking. I think that's just extra onto it.
Okay, so now that's what we're aiming to do now. So we have this mayhem. We just have to introduce the idea that Skip is probably sinking the boat. He sees that the exits are blocked. So what a great, the exit isn't the only way to get into the water, you know what I mean? Sinking this boat is the way to get into the water. So I think maybe that's his motivation now, or that's what he does. He's like, I'm going to sink this ship,
Definitely. And I just automatically start thinking of like that tension in Jaws when Roy Scheider's sinking on the mast, and it's like the shark is there. It's like, oh my god, if he goes into the water, he's done,
But this is such a weird thing, because you have your creatures running towards the water with their heroes, trying to keep them away from the water, which every sinking ship is running away from the water. So every time they see it, they're like springing into action, going like, and then more show up,
Maybe it's a case of that, like when the boat is sinking, it's like, okay, we have to get to this to the lifeboats. No, the lifeboats are just in case we need them for the Gremlins. No women and children in the lifeboats. Okay, these are put the life jacket on, you'll be fine. Don't worry, we're not that far away from land. But if we do sink, we have to keep the lifeboats for the Gremlins.
Yeah, that boat. So Skip finds a way to like mess the boat up, and maybe he finds. I don't know.
Skip has to go as well and take the captain. He has to kill the captain and become the skipper of the ship.
So he can crash the boat, basically.
Yeah. He has to, doesn't he? I'd love that whole idea of the Gremlin with the white hat on, the captain's
like
sailor hat.
Going to go down the ship.
That's excellent.
He's standing there, the national anthem, he's saluting, he's a little tears rolling on the side while the boat is going down.
Actually, then, maybe that's where the time zone thing comes in. Maybe it is like he thinks he's on schedule because of the time. Or did they do that already? In the other two films, did they ever change the time to make them think that it was earlier than before?
The Gremlins done it to the Mogwai and to the kid as well. They've done that so he would feed them after midnight.
Yeah.
The Gremlins done it, but it was never done to the Gremlins.
Okay, because if you introduce the time zone thing, it's a bit muddled, I know, but in another draft we could figure that out. But it does seem like a nice thing, because that image of him going down with the ship is so good. But it would be great if it was like, he was out. The time was different. So when he's going down, he's succeeding. Oh no, they've actually changed the times.
But the time's not going to make a difference now at this stage for the water.
Yeah.
The time only matters for the
No, for the sun coming up. So the sun comes up anyway.
So he's falling down as the sun rising up.
I'm about to transform, and then boom, the sun.
Yeah, and then the sun hits him.
Yeah, he sees the clocks, and he's like,
yeah, because he's like, well, it's only like whatever o'clock, and then the sunrise hits, and he's like, no,
that's cool. We can just show the clock at a certain time, and then and then you go back, and just before he's about to, he sees the sun come up, you go back to the clock, and the clock hasn't changed.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, so it's still time. The clock obviously wasn't working at that point. Cool.
Yeah. So at that point, then, if that's the way, we can kind of go into more detail with it. But just because this is like, now we have the boat sinking, which we wanted. We have the defeat of all the Gremlins, which we wanted. Although, should we defeat them first, or how do we do that? Like, do we want to keep it that Skip is the only one left, or does it have to be a thing where they're all alive? And
what if Skip calls them all to the bridge? Basically, he sees over the antenna, you hear the Gremlin, the whatever they say.
Number one.
Yeah. And there's like mayhem still going on with the Gremlins, and then they hear Skip, and they just stop, and then they all make a dart for the bridge. At that point, Skip is already being killed. They don't know that, and they just all run onto the bridge, and they just basically just die then.
Oh, do you know how you could do that? You could have Gizmo do that phone call. he could call them up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because we want him to get the last victory, right?
Yeah,
so they think, they're like, I thought we killed Skip, you know? And then like they're hearing like this intercom, and then whenever it happens, like you just see this. That's me like dusting my hands, by the way. He's dusting his hands as he walks out, going like, "Yeah, I did it," you know. But he's in the dark. He's in the dark, you know. And then they get on the raft, you know.
Gizmo should put himself into whatever the Ziploc bag or whatever it is. He should be in the Ziploc bag while he's doing the phone call, and then he just gets up and pulls it across.
Life jacket on himself.
Yeah, like a dog carrier cage or something, you know, something that can float. It contains animals, you know, like it fulfills a function. So he drifts away and he hits land, and then he's picked up. Boom! This was a prequel all along.
It's fantastic.
And if it's a prequel, we have to call it Gremlin, I suppose.
Love it.
No S, just Gremlin.
Gremlin. Cool.
No, I think though as well. I don't think that since Gizmo is the last one now, we already know we have the character, the Indiana Jones character. He's been looking for them. He should bring him to the Asian guy in the shop. I think maybe, you know, hand him off as like, okay, or he should bring him off to the Asian guy. Maybe he doesn't have a shop. Maybe he works in like a zoo or something like that, or he can contain the Mogwai and keep him safe. You know, I think that he should be the one who takes Gizmo off.
What do you think?
I think that guy, basically, I think his motivation is that he wants to discover these creatures because he's some sort of zoologist or he studies exotic animals, and I don't see why he would hand them over.
Yeah, maybe he's the Asian guy then. Maybe he's the guy who has the shop.
He's the Asian guy.
Yeah, maybe he's the Asian guy that's younger.
Although at the same time, then why would he be so willing to sell off?
Give him away. Yeah. And then a few years later, he's like, "Oh, here."
But he doesn't give him away.
I don't think that
he doesn't give him away though. In Gremlin, the child, his grandson gives him away. The Asian guy doesn't sell him. He's like, no, he's not for sale.
Okay.
And then the grandson meets the inventor in the alleyway. He's like, yeah, give me $20. And then the Asian guy comes back at the end of the first one and takes Gizmo back.
Yeah, he does. Yeah,
so he always comes back and takes him.
Okay, well, I know this is going to sound so bad, but how about the Asian guy then is either the guy from... He's in a Chris Nolan film anyway. He's either the guy...
Sato. He was Ra's al Ghul.
He's either Ra's al Ghul or he's the guy who gets kidnapped from Hong Kong and brought back.
Yeah.
He could be in it, which would be awesome. So maybe we make him that. And I actually like the
kind of
first thing. It's not just a bunch of white people running around.
He's a Japanese scientist in Godzilla.
Yeah.
So it's perfect for him. He has the credentials already.
Yeah. He's got a total typecast, but yeah, no, it works.
That's what I mean. Like, apologies for going like the Chinese guy. Like, I hate that. But so yeah, it could easily be that guy. I don't mind at all because I don't want to lay too much stuff into the next, to the old ones, you know. Yeah. But that's a nice thing.
You just want to connect. You want to tie off a way. Just you don't have to basically give it too much, but just to make it seamless. Like
you might need to be set that a little bit earlier as well.
Yeah, and I do think that the other guys should believe that Gizmo's gone. No matter what, even if Gizmo does go and our Gary is, which we called him earlier, he finds him later, or he hid Gizmo and then at the end we see that he had him all along. So the audience should also think Gizmo's gone.
Yeah.
The audience are with Matt and Grace. Grace, right?
Grace. Yeah.
Matt and Grace thinking like, in that idea of like, oh, he's gone. Like, yeah, he's sunk too, you know? And it's like, okay, cool. Like, it's over. And then at the very end, it's like, he's here. Na, 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 na. You know? And then cut. Gremlin.
That's sweet.
Cool.
So we're after doing Gremlins prequel.
That's really good.
Yeah.
I'm going to go straight home and watch the two of those movies now because it just really made me want to see
Well, I wish you had watched it beforehand because then I wouldn't have been there with the resident.
With the expert.
I actually be with the expert. Yeah. Although I do think, in terms of what this film does need, I think we need to go back in, pump a lot of things for Grace to do because I felt like we just sidelined her.
Oh, we just mentioned her name.
And because we were so busy on the plot. But I would love, even to the point where if we just switched Grace and Matt, and it was just about her.
Yeah.
And then she met this other guy. Because we haven't had one woman in the...
Absolutely, but we didn't even go hugely into what our main characters were doing for the whole thing. You know what I mean? It was more like just about the overall story and what the Gremlins are doing, you know?
Yeah.
So But yeah, I get your point.
Yeah.
But the thing is as well, like I know with a lot of original movies, when you do reboots now, they lose the essence of what that story was about. With Gremlins, I don't ever really remember when I seen it. I don't remember it having another story. You know, it was like I know that
It was them.
It was just all about the Gremlins. Yeah.
When is everything going to kick off? Really, you know what I mean? And the second one, I think, kind of just went straight into it. You know, with the first movie, they have Gremlin, they have Gizmo for a while, and they're enjoying having him in the family, and look what he can do, and he sings this little song, and that's great, he's so cute. And then he eats something after midnight, and then he gets wet, and it all happens so gradually. And then the last kind of, or the middle, 30 minutes or whatever, that's all the chaos.
Yeah.
So I know as well with like the main point of it is like that the boy, the son, his father's away traveling for business. Okay, that's his thing. I don't know. There's not really there's no real meaning to that, I suppose, in connection with this story. Everything that happens in Gremlin seems to be as a person does something wrong and they get their comeuppance for it. That's all it ever seems to be. It's like the woman, the old woman who's a bitch to everybody. She gets her comeuppance. Yeah. The police officers, they don't believe, they get their comeuppance.
That's a really fun draft too, where you incorporate those characters into it. But I think we wrap that up now. I think that's kind of been
first draft.
Yeah. So what do you think? Would you actually watch that film?
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah? Would that be worthy Gremlins? Would it be worthy enough to go into the Gremlin canon?
Oh, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
What about you, Stevie?
Definitely. I would actually nearly delete Gremlins 2 and put that in there as this place. I think that's the perfect playing with the rules of a story to the best it can be. Like putting it on a boat, surrounded by water. It doesn't get any better than that, really. Okay. For as far as Gremlins go, I don't think. I think it's a perfect scenario for them.
Let's find out what they think. So what do you think? Would this be a film that you'd like to see? Is it a hit? Is it a dud? Let us know at Storybreakers. And be really ruthless if you want. Like, what would your version be, actually? I mean, maybe they set it in space. Gremlins in space.
Where they're passing by the Muppets, maybe? In a separate fuselages.
Yeah, so that was our take on it. But what would your take be on it? So let us know at Storybreakers.
Yeah, we also have Facebook, and we will have a website soon as well, hopefully. So keep an eye out for that. But we'll keep you informed on Twitter. And
I just want to thank Conor Dowling for giving us the time to sit in and reboot Gremlins.
Thanks for having me.
It's been awesome.
Yeah, it's been great being here.
And also a thank you to Filmbase for allowing us to use our pod layer.
Yeah, sorry, we didn't actually thank them in the very first episode when we should have. We got too excited and forgot what we were supposed to do. So, sorry about that.
We love you. Okay. So, on behalf of Storybreakers, this is Christopher Brennan saying good night.
Good night.
Good night.